And we are live in the PM or something. I don't know. Welcome to the Crafty Boys, where we sit around, drink beer, talk about it, and then talk about other crap because, that's the point of drinking beer and hanging out, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, welcome, and we haven't been around for a little while because,
Busy.
lives, and stuff, and so now here we are. We're down a couple players because they are, they're in the east, or one of them's in the east. The other one, I don't know, he's just weird. So
He's
they'll
missing
eventually
in the
return.
jungles of like Tibet or something. Does Tibet have jungles?
He's currently
He's got an
He's
agenda and
lost.
he's like hacking his way through the jungle.
Well, to be honest, that is, that is a possibility. I can't reveal
Because we
where
haven't
Dave
heard
might
from
be
him,
right
so
now.
He might be.
This is what I think. I think he is completely and utterly just lost and is finding himself in the wilderness or something. But anyway, we have beer to drink. What is the beer? Now, we have taken... okay. This is the longest I think anyone in the history of drinking of beer has taken to drink 12 in a box.
Yeah.
We started drinking the Space Case, I think, in December. Did we drink any in December?
I think it was like late January.
Was it late January? We had the intention of drinking it, and then we didn't, and now we've been slowly picking away at it. So next time will be completely brand new beer. We don't know what, and it'll not be from the Space Case.
That's
right. This one is the Kiramai Black Rice Lager. This is a lager at 4.2%, and it is the flavor notes are balanced, roasty, crisp, and nuanced, whatever that means. And then it says nearly half of zippers worldwide. Zippers? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Zippers worldwide are made in Japan. If you check your zipper, chances are it will say YKK, which stands for Yoshida. Here's the problem. I don't have enough light, apparently. Founded in Tokyo in 1934, 7 billion zippers are produced by this manufacturer each and every
7 billion
year. I can't imagine why
like
anyone would want
for like almost every single human being on Earth.
Yeah.
Every single year.
Why? That I don't understand. Why would you need? I guess
if you have like
wears
a few
out,
pairs of pants, they're all gonna have zippers on them, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I probably have put them through many universities with the number of clothing items that I have purchased with zippers on them.
We're in the wrong.
Now, are we talking like those plastic interlocking ones? Are we talking like metal? I wonder.
Probably
I'm
metal.
kind of curious. Are we talking like complete and utter like shambles? You want to cry if you got your junk caught in those?
Well, probably.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to get my junk caught in any zippers,
No. No, it's definitely not something that I believe we will ever need to delve into or experiment with, because it is one of those things that I just really don't. It just scares me. So,
how the beans end up being on top of the Frank?
That is just terrifying.
Yeah.
That you actually refer to it as beans and Franks.
Well,
Anyway.
that was from There's Something About Mary.
Is that? Oh, is that? Oh God, that's right. I totally forgot about that scene.
Junk stuck in the zipper. What is it? Is that the beans or the Frank? I think it's both. All right.
All right, let's drink some beer, because if we don't, people will think we're strange because this is a beer podcast after all. Um, all right, so this beer is a lager. It is very dark. It's
Mhm.
actually it's very close to
It
stout.
looks at
Not
home in
entirely.
my Guinness glass, although it's
It
not.
does. It does. It smells like chocolate. Hmm.
Notes of licorice.
Okay. 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 I'm in.
It's interesting. A black rice lager. So, as an ingredients list.
Are you have you ever had a black rice lager? I don't think I have.
No, I think this is the first for me. It's
Can't
good,
say that I've ever really.
but I'll say this: it tastes a lot like a stout.
Okay. It does actually. I'm trying to get the flavor profile because I've got that sort of burned taste. Is that what
Exactly.
I'm?
I mean, it's not quite exactly the same as a stout, but it's pretty close. Like I think if you were going to do a blind taste test, I think you would say it's a stout.
Hmm.
But it's good.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's really quaffable.
Toasty.
Yeah,
Toasty.
it's toasty.
Toast. It's very toasted. I believe that it's toasted. I do believe that our toasted experience is afoot. I'm trying to be dramatic, but whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it ain't working. Uh, but yes, I'm enjoying this. I highly recommend going out and trying this, although you can't because this thing has been sold out since before Christmas. But
yeah, it's been a while.
if you have a time machine, you could go back in time to before Christmas and get the space case.
My sister sent me a picture the other day of a of that photograph from Back to the Future of the siblings
Oh yeah,
standing side by side, and she said that she was feeling very much like everything was becoming like Back to the Future, that we were fading away in our old age, that we were all just becoming translucent characters on a photograph. Uh,
so
and I said,
interesting. And
yes.
maybe you've seen this before, but I saw a picture just today of the siblings, but it was from the original casting with Eric Stoltz.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Tell me more.
yeah, so it was in a completely different setting. It was like had like a brick wall and like a wagon wheel in the background. And Dave looked exactly the same, except he was wearing a cowboy hat. But otherwise, he's same pose, same clothes. Uh, the sister, the name escapes me for a second,
Lisa?
who I'm pretty sure was played by Wendy Jo Sperber. Um, she was dressed differently, slightly. And
Oh,
Eric
wow.
Stoltz was dressed like all in black, and it was weird.
I'm just locating that photograph. I want to. Where is it here? I want one with them actually all in the photograph, but not headless or translucent or
Mm.
invisible in any way. Here we go. Ooh, that's pretty terrible, actually. Whatever. That'll work. So, yeah, here we go. So, hang on.
Hanging on.
All right,
I'd
so
be interested to
here
see.
is the photo as I mean, it's not the greatest version of it, but this is the photograph that if you've seen the films, you would be quite
Yeah.
familiar with. And This one is the photo you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, he's wearing the same getup, except his shoes are different.
Mm.
And she's wearing the same shirt, but she's looking really dopey in this
Yeah,
version
I
of
know. He
it.
was like, "Ugh,
I'm a loser.
I'm
Uh,
frumpy.
so that is kind
And
of
he looks
amusing.
like
And
he
then,
works in like a garage somewhere.
yeah, like, and then the real, like that, what is the Stoltz? Like, that, wow. That is just, that, okay, that's why he didn't work in that film. This is why was not like he this is why he was an actor. He's an auteur, where Michael J. Fox was, I guess a working actor or something that had a popular TV show. Because I think, when did Stoltz do The Mask?
Stoltz wasn't playing it for a comedy. He
Yeah, true.
felt his character was more tragic than anything else.
Yeah, here we go. So yeah, so the next thing that he did was Mask, which was the one where he played that character who had that disease with
The head
whatever
share
the
and
yeah whatever the head, a chair in it, yeah, exactly. And but yeah, it was that was a real role. You were embodying a character and bringing it to life, and it was a tragedy. And um so yeah, I could totally see
and,
the
and that was actually apparently Eric Stoltz's words. He says that the Back to the Future is a tragedy in his estimation because Marty McFly goes back in time, screws around with his own future, and is going to go back. No matter what he does, is going to go back, and his future isn't going to be what he left. He's not going to know his family at all because they're going to be completely different people.
right.
Which I mean, I guess from a realism point of view, yes, absolutely, he was right. But it was just a dopey comedy. He kind of overthunk it.
It's like in the I forgot, the End Game, or whichever, yeah, the End Game film, or maybe it was whatever the hell Marvel film it was from 2019ish, 2020ish, whatever it was definitely where they had that whole discussion about the legitimacy of Back to the Future. And the Hulk, played by Ruffalo's like, that's not how time travel works. You have these things that you deal with, and you have these other things you deal with, and la da 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 da. And then just the line delivery from Paul Rudd's character goes, "What? So you're saying that Back to the Future is bullshit?" And like all these characters kind of just look at him like, "What is wrong with you?" and and even I was sitting there in the audience the first time I saw it, going, "Fuck you guys! Back to the Future's awesome." Anyway, uh, it's just one of those weird things. But yeah, I've actually never seen that photo before. That creeps me out. That it was a
Well, if you think about it, I mean, that's what they were going to go with Eric Stoltz.
actually did. Is that the same actress in both? Yeah, I guess it is the same actress.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So she's more of a doll um, than
She
anything.
was probably like, thank God I get to take that picture again.
Why did I take this photo? I hate you, Steven. Mr. Spielberg. Um, but it's one of those things. Actually, honestly, speaking of Spielberg, I'm assuming you've been watching the trailers, right, for the new Indiana
Yeah.
Jones film that's about less than a month away.
Yeah.
What is your estimation of this film? Now, I heard just recently they had this big thing where they gave uh, what's his face an award at the Cannes Film Festival, and then the film sucked. Now, I don't know if that's a legitimate commentary on somebody who may have been in the audience, but did you see any of this information?
No, I didn't. Um, you know what? I mean, there's these people out there. Was it Mr. I can't remember what his name is. The guy on YouTube that wears a helmet and calls himself Doomcock or something.
I was just gonna say big helmet.
Yeah, he wears like a big helmet and everything, and he talks all this. I mean, it's just for clicks, right? But he's
when
like,
when will it be now? Soon.
yeah. So, um, these guys, that's how they make a living, is by getting you to
So you're talking about like
by
general movie reviews and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, they make shit up.
It's
And
funny. It's funny you say that because I was just watching this thing recently about the disparity between the Rotten Tomato numbers, where you have like the critic numbers and the numbers by the audience, and how that algorithm has like why is there such a gap between the two, and a lot of it seems to be that there is this idea that critics are looking with a critical eye, hence the name. But then there's the audience score, which is basically who the hell cares? Is the film fun?
was I
Maybe not
entertained?
perfect.
Is what they're
Andrew, what?
like for a regular audience. It's like, am I entertained?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's all they care about. Whereas
So
critics are looking at like plot devices and character development and all those subtle kinds of things that regular folks don't really care about. But at the same
right,
time, I also think that any kind of Indiana Jones movie or Star Wars movie or even Star Trek movie or anything like that is doomed to fail. Because there's going to be people out there that are going to compare these things to the originals that were made 40 years ago or whatever,
right,
which were, made in a different time where the direct, like Steven Spielberg or whoever, took risks, took chances, and beat the odds and made something that was really great. And you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice.
true.
You can't.
Well, I also wonder if people are going to go into it thinking. Oh, sorry, thinking. Going into the theater with that taste in their mouth from 2008.
If I see an old film property rebooted, like either rebooted or like a sequel many years after the fact, I go in expecting it to be garbage. I think most people do, and I think
Right.
what the film has to do is work extra hard to prove to those people that it's not garbage, and sometimes that's too big of a hill to climb.
True. Because if
So,
you think of
so
it,
I mean,
there's going to be all
you
of
don't
that.
start from zero. Like if it's a brand new film idea that you've never seen before, you go in starting off with your expectations at ground zero, and you either go up or down from there. If it's a known property like Indiana Jones or Star Wars or something like that, that was like started from up here, you actually go in with expectations down here. So it either goes down from that or goes up, but the going up is like really tough. Really tough.
So, are you saying that you think this film is doomed before it starts?
Yeah, in a way.
I totally get it. I'm one of those individuals who has a bad taste in their mouth from the last film because, yeah, there were cool elements to the film. It was really nice. They had a few little nods toward the previous films. But I guess they just missed a bunch of opportunities between 1938 and 1950 1950? Was that film in 1950? I can't remember, um, but it was in the 50s. That much we know. And now we've jumped ahead another 15, 20 years to
I want to say the Crystal
1969.
Skull took place in like 55 or 57.
Look it up because I actually don't know. I'm actually not entirely certain. But okay, Crystal Skull. So it was what? 19. God, that had a 200, almost a $200 million budget. Set in
Oh,
57.
yeah, 57.
All right. So it would. So yeah, so it's 10, 11, what, 12 years later, I guess, from that film. Now, is the bad taste going to be strong enough? Because again, I feel there's some nods to the previous films. I think it's all right in that sort of way. Um, it did add that whole element of this could be a torch passing event, which it turned out not to be, which I'm okay with. Um, is Marion in this trailer? Does she show up? I think she does show up very briefly.
I don't know.
Because didn't they get married at the end?
They did.
So I don't know. I guess there's just really a lot of opportunity where I have a love for the young Indiana Jones Chronicles back in the day. Um, it was an expensive show to make. They recut them into basically, if you think about it and you look at the list on IndianaJones.com, Indiana Jones basically has 26 movies as of the Crystal Skull, because they cut a bunch of those together. Basically, episode 1 and 2 are now a film. Episode 3 and 4 and that kind of stuff. So because they had, I guess, common elements or something when they were broadcast, but I don't know. I guess there's just a lot of things going that have
So
going for it.
let me ask you something, Shane. If
Yeah.
you saw Crystal Skull and you hadn't heard any of the buzz about it yet, what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it until they got to the temple, because I was very forgiving. I wanted another Indiana Jones film, so I was okay. And then they got to the temple, and then a bunch of dudes jumped out of the wall,
Yeah.
and I thought, they're not undead, they're not creatures that live forever or something. It's just a bunch of dudes that just suddenly jumped out of the wall to guard something,
Right. But the collective opinion online was significantly lower than what I thought of it. Once you read all that chatter, did that sway your opinion of the film? Did it bring it down even more?
Not really. Mainly because it wasn't until I watched it again, maybe 5 years later, that I had a more critical eye, because I think I bought or I received, I don't know exactly how I got them, but the Blu-ray for it. And then pardon me, then I watched it. And it was kind of that weird reaction. You just kind of watch it again, and you're like, yikes. Actually, a better comparison would be watching an episode of Knight Rider or the A-Team, or shows that we grew, Dukes of Hazzard, where we grew up with those shows. We loved them as children, but then you watch them as an adult and you're like, what was I on glue when I was watching this? Like, what the hell? Did my parents just give him sugar and put him in front of TV? Was that sort of how it was? Or was it just that I don't know.
You're it's look at the orange car.
Yeah, exactly. Like watching those
That
shows
car
again.
talks.
they're kind of cute, but you're like, God, what the? This is just a piece of, it's schlock TV. It's totally whatever. It has its time, but yeah, but these films, like one of the memories I have of the third Indiana Jones film is that I saw it with my grandmother. It must have been like around the same time that she was starting her slow descent uh, into madness. No, into Alzheimer's. So I remember I saw it with her at the Capital Six, or was it the Odeon? One of the two. I can't remember which one. I think it was the Capital Six. And I remember her saying, as we left the theater, "Well, that was quite violent." That was her only commentary on the entire film. There was no, wow, that's an interesting adventure into finding the Holy Grail, or blah 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 blah. But or that was a great serial, or whatever. No, it was just like, that was quite violent, and that was it. That always stuck with me as a weird thing to walk away. I mean, I agree. I mean, sure, they're violent films, whatever. That's the whole idea of adventure. But I'm just glad I didn't take her to see Temple of Doom. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
right?
trying. I'm trying to be fair to the filmmakers, because I'm pretty sure that Crystal Skull was made to be different. They weren't chasing the Holy Grail. They did that. Like, that's kind of the pinnacle of all adventures. But then you had to deal with the interview I saw with Steven Spielberg, where he basically threw George Lucas under the bus and said, "That was him, man. I was just there to do some things on it, but that was all him." It's like, well, why didn't anyone say to George, "No, no, down, down, George, down, bad George"?
Nobody does that to George Lucas anymore.
Well, they do now, because he's out.
Yeah, he's out.
I don't know. I just felt that there were just some stuff that is I don't mind new ideas, but as long as you're nodding and acknowledging that there was a stuff beforehand, and
mother had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
Why, hello there, Harry LeBerry. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel that we probably could have. I don't know, just something. Harry, have you seen any of the trailers for the new Indiana Jones films? I am curious if you have, because I have such high hopes, but I'm trying to keep them down, because I really want to. Have you seen any of the other Indiana Jones films? I mean, I guess there's context there as well. But let's move on to the new Star Wars films. I want to know what you think about this whole idea that there's going to be another trilogy featuring Rey as the lead. And while you're thinking on that, Alan, Harry, what did you think of the Crystal Skull? That was the film we were just referring to when you joined, and I don't want to spoil it, but we kind of thought it was great. Okay, awesome. Because, Alan, what did you think of Crystal Skull overall?
I liked Crystal Skull. I mean, I agree with you. It was a little bit fantastical when, at the end there in the temple. I kind of, I didn't really like that part. But the rest of it, I thought was fine. And it wasn't any more unbelievable than any other
True.
Indiana
That is
Jones
true.
movie before it, right?
Harry, when you mean the books, are you talking about the books that came out? I'm trying to think of when. Like, probably, I would say, in the 90s, was it? Alan, did you ever read those?
No.
Yeah, I have probably 6 or 7 of them, and I've read pretty much all of them. It's like there's of course, I read them back in the 90s. I still have copies of them, but yeah, there's a whole bunch that they made, kind of a bridge between the Indiana Jones, the kids ones, to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, to the films. So they're like, he was in college or something by that point. Lord of the Sphinx when I was in. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean that was the one thing. Of course, when you're watching those, reading those, or watching when you're reading those books, that is totally what was in my head is watching Harrison Ford as a young guy, or even what was his name, Sean something, Patrick something or other. I almost got it. Anyway, he was decent as a young Indiana Jones, but the Ray films. Sorry, you were saying, Alan.
What? Oh, the Ray films.
Star Wars trilogy with Ray
Yeah,
as the lead.
I don't know. I mean, I'll wait and see what they do with it. The only Disney Star Wars movie I have actually like thoroughly enjoyed is Rogue One. To
Okay,
me, Rogue
I can
One
see
is
that.
actually one of the best Star Wars movies ever made. But that's the only one. Now, the series that they've done, like the
The
Obi-Wan
Andor
Kenobi
one.
series, was fantastic. Andor, fantastic. Um,
I just read that the Andor series, the next season is going to be the last season, but it's going to lead right up to Rogue One.
yeah,
So
Andor
I'm
was
going to be happy to see that. I'm very curious.
ripping television. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
uh, in my opinion, it is the best Star Wars series that they've put out.
And so what happened to Willow? Which if you've we need sorry, here we go. We need Disney to back off. They went too far by well, yeah, I would agree. That is actually, I think what is actually happening in the background is because I know that when they brought Iger back from retirement and booted the CEO, I think what 3 or 4 months ago, Iger said, "Look, we're making too many things. We're flooding the market to the point where it's just background noise, and we don't need to do that. Let's pause and say, okay, well, let's go back to, a couple of movies for large franchises a year with one TV series, not four and not six films. Because, which I kind of agree with. I think that whole schedule of if you have like a trilogy of something, then one every December is perfect because you have everyone is there's a whole bunch of people that are taking time off to hang out with family and stuff. They have a little more time. Perfect. For large franchises with multiple films, like 4 or 10, whatever, yeah, every couple of years you have another one. Move the story forward. And I agree with what you're saying there, Harry, about the Legends things because there is so much material, and not to mention they're actually bringing a lot of that material into uh, into sort of the mainstream of stuff. I guess is that sort of holy cow? Alan, save the show.
Shane's for Clifton. Um, yeah, I mean, remember when we were kids watching the Star Wars movies, we had to wait 3 years in
Yeah,
between releases, right? I mean, I think today we expect things too quickly and we don't put enough effort into it. It's like just put something out, people will watch it, and we don't spend the time actually developing a quality product. The Ray trilogy that we already had, with the episodes 7 through 9, were doomed from the start. Actually, I didn't mind episode 7. I thought it was actually a pretty good movie, even though it's a carbon
well,
copy of
yeah,
episode
that
4.
one
Uh,
was perfect.
but they didn't have a roadmap for what was coming after that. And I think the thing was with the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy is that George Lucas did have at least a loose roadmap of where he thought the story was going to go.
Yeah,
And Disney, when they took it over, they didn't have that. They said, let's make a really good episode 7. We'll worry about episode 8 and 9 later. And then they brought in Ryan Johnson for episode 8, who was like, Yeah, screw you and your Star Wars franchise. I'm gonna crap all over everything. And yeah, I see you're building a story here. Yeah, forget that. Screw you
I got
guys.
some glass onions to make, or whatever the film
Oh
is.
yeah, you think Ray's gonna be Luke Skywalker's daughter? Yeah, screw you.
And somehow Palpatine's returned.
Oh
But
yeah, you're building
yeah.
up Snoke to be this big bad. Yeah, well, look you. And then that leads to episode 9 where they're like the Emperor is back somehow. For some, we don't know how, but he's back.
Well, and you know what's really funny is that all of that became clearer with Andor and with Mandalorian, that kind of stuff, where they're like, okay, so there was this whole idea that the Emperor is doing a thing with genetics to try and do stuff so that he
Cloning.
could live forever, that we've never mentioned until that trilogy, maybe in the last one. Did we say much in the second or the 7 or 8? Not really. Maybe a little, but not really. We wanted it to be a surprise because we didn't actually know what we were writing, and
And there
and then we
was
have a TV show, a couple of TV shows that will fix it all for us in hindsight.
and there was an interesting thing in Star Wars Rebels, which was an animated series as well, where the main character, who was force sensitive, um, he at one point went into this. I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a world between worlds, which was a place where
Right.
force sensitive users could go, you know, and you could go anywhere in the universe you wanted. And I think the main character, when he was in there, he encountered Palpatine in the world between worlds. So some people
Like
surmise that when,
as an adult, or we're talking like what age are we talking?
well,
I haven't seen Rebels, so yeah.
you know, they kind of always showed the Emperor as being like the old man
Right. Okay.
with the
So
robe.
like the hood and the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah. Um, so when he encountered Palpatine, there was like that guy, with the hood and everything. So some people kind of guess based on this information that when Vader threw the Emperor down the shaft, he actually went to the world between worlds, used the Force to go to the world between worlds. So he didn't actually die.
Oh.
And then he could come out of the world between worlds anywhere else.
So how does that work?
It was sort of like this other plane of existence. And if you're force sensitive, you can go there if you know how.
So he was like, I'm being thrown down a large hole in a Death Star. I need to go to the world between worlds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can see that. I mean,
I recommend watching Rebels.
I intend to, because I'm in the final season of my brain of the first show, the Clone Wars, and Rebels is next, and then Resistance after that.
I would not bother with Resistance.
Oh, really? Why?
Because Garbo.
No, really? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's horrible. And there's nothing significant that happens in it, at least that I know of.
Is it supposed to be?
You have to watch Rebels before you start watching Ahsoka.
That is
series.
True. When is
because
Ahsoka
basically
dropping?
the
Not
Ahsoka
long.
series is a continuation of the Rebels show, because Ahsoka is in Rebels.
Right. And it's basically talking about Thrawn, I guess. Does Thrawn show up in Rebels? Yeah, I guess
Thrawn
he
is in
does.
Rebels, but
yeah.
probably not until I think season 3. Rebels is a bit of a slow burn at the start, but then after, I think once you hit season 3, it really starts to get moving. But you really can't miss season 1 and 2.
Okay. All right, then I'll have to speed it by watching and get through them because Ahsoka's not far away. I want to say it's
Ahsoka's
like
not far away. Several characters are in, and actually in Mando season 2 already has, or not season 2, season 3 had already a Rebels character in it, a live action one.
which one?
Zeb. He
Oh, the right.
yeah, he was what was he? Big like walking cat guy who was in that
Oh,
bar.
that guy.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So
Big walking cat guy.
yeah, so he's Zeb, and he's he's basically the muscle of the team.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, then I will have to follow your lead and basically ignore one show and watch and focus on the other.
And then after you've finished that, you've got to watch the Bad Batch.
Oh, which I have been watching. That I have been watching.
So one of the guys from Rebels, his younger self, is in the first episode of the Bad Batch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Rex in it? In
Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little
Is he? Is he? Oh, he's not in it because I was curious if he was a lead because I've seen him referred to as
he
being
is
in the show.
He's in several episodes, but not as a main.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's some years later.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's leave it at that.
Okay.
Because it's time to go to bed, and we also have to pick a beer for next week, and it's going to take us hours to decide. But we hope that everyone that's been watching comes back, and we hope that we'll, it's awesome. It's a new year. COVID's done. We can all go back to drinking beer and stuff in public or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Are you in this show anymore? I don't actually know. But thank you all, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye.
Yay!